Welcome to Business Prowess with Raphael and Juanita. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. We'll talk to experts and business leaders. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Raphael is the founder of 5 Unique Shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Juanita Cap is a public speaker who was in the ministry for 15 years. She has extensive knowledge of various topics such as leadership and communication, and has emceed many executive and academic events. Juanita is the founder of 2 Unique Shows. Her life motto is never give up.
Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me today on Business Prowess. How are you?
It's my pleasure. Good morning. I am blessed and unstoppable. How are you?
Oof, I love that. Blessed to unstoppable. I am exceptional and getting better every day.
Love it. Love it.
I know Juanita could not join us today, being that she was a minister and being that it's Good Friday, she wanted to be respectful. But even though I celebrate as well, I have that motto that the show must always go on.
I agree.
Yeah. So I am so thrilled to have you here. This is not your first time. It's like you're becoming an expert on this show. I love it.
I love it. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Yes, sir. So last time you were with us when we had our grand opening, if you will, the first show, it was a celebration. We had so many amazing people come on and share. So the other thing that we want to talk about today is to start, right? To get started. I know that's a topic that's dear to your heart and mine too. So I'd love to, pick your brain on it. But before we do, I want to give Juanita some props, because even though she's not here, she's having an event, and I think everybody should definitely go to it. Let me put that on if you don't mind. I like the music.
Exciting times. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So start.
That's right. So many people want to do things, but yet they push off the start. And everything starts. Everything begins with an idea, just a thought. And it's really about taking that very first step to start and not get stuck in the analysis of paralysis and be stuck by perfection, because we'll never achieve it. Especially with today being Good Friday and everything that represents, we as mortal human beings will never reach perfection. So just start. Whatever your dream, your desire is, just start. You want to get somewhere, so you go out to your car, and you can sit in your car for the next 3 days. Until you start that vehicle and start driving, you're never going to get there. So just start whatever it is that you're wanting to start.
Oh, I love that. I love that. When you think about our days sometimes don't even start when we start. Because at 12:01, actually 1 second, the new day has started. That's when we're talking about going from midnight over. By that 1 second, in a split second, that new day has started. And then we get 12 p.m. and that's the middle, right? But we start when we wake up, and whatever time that is for you guys or anybody out there. I'm up anywhere. Depends on the day. Sometimes 3:30 in the morning, sometimes 4, sometimes 4:30. My body just says go, and I listen.
It's time to wake up and get started.
Yes.
Every new day offers many gifts. So it's just your job to untie the ribbon and see what the gifts are for that particular day.
Every day is a gift. I love that. Yes,
Absolutely.
yes. So just start. That's great. But there's more, right? Right? There's more just starting, right? So I'd love to talk to you about getting over that fear of doing that thing that you want to do, whatever it is, whether you want to you want to start going to the gym, you want to lose weight, you want to start dating. Maybe you haven't dated, maybe you're divorced and you want to start whatever, you want to start a new business. Maybe it's your 5th business, your 7th business, your 19th business. You still have to do what?
Still got to start.
That's right.
That's right.
So let's talk about that. What are the fears that you think that stops people from taking that first step?
I really think that there's 2 major fears that are associated with starting. Number 1 is the fear of failure. And number 2, which coincides with that, is also judgment from others. And one thing to understand is everybody's going to judge you. Everybody judges. It's just human nature. So if they're not the ones paying your bills, if they're not the ones to keep you happy at home, it shouldn't really matter much. And, I'm the type that somebody tells me I can't do something, so that just fuels me that much more to go do it. I know everybody's not like that, but, there's the whole concept of put out crap, then put out crap 2.0. What I mean by that is you put something out there. You don't have to wait until your brand colors are perfect, until your logo is the best in the world, until you are a spitfire with your tongue, until you are absolutely perfect in every way for your business. Because you wait until that point, you will never start.
Yeah.
And it's really about just going out there and doing it. I have a community called Thought Provoking Change. And when this idea first came into my mind to do this community, I went to a website called Fiverr.com, and I put out, I need a website built. Essentially, the first person that can put it together for me, you've got the job. Well, somebody did a website for me. I think I paid a whopping $65. In all reality, I could have one worst website on the entire World Wide Web. It was horrible. There were broken links galore. The colors didn't match. You name it. It was bad. But it stayed up for quite a while until I got a new website built. And the thing is, just start. We still had people come into the community from that terrible website, but it gave people a way to find us. And if I would have waited until we had the optimal website and the optimal everything, guess what? We still would not be started, because even though the community has launched, even though we have a multitude of members, we are still changing day by day. And it's just the thing of you must start. I had a mentoring client that came to me, and he sent me a video of something that he was working on selling, a course that he had. He sends me that video. I take a look at it and I said, put it up. Well, he calls me just seconds later and he says, well, I spoke with someone else that's in the digital space. Supposed to be really good in the digital space. And I know that guy too. I've worked with him. He said, he told me it does not have a call to action. It does not have this. It does not have that. He named several things. He said, you're right. It doesn't. You're putting it on Facebook. So type it in there, put the video up as it is, and just move on. Well, he put the video up a couple minutes later. By the end of that night, he sent me a text where he had made a sale off of that crappy video. And the thing is, if he would not have just started and put up the imperfection, he would have never made that sale, because they wouldn't have known about it. So just put it up. Don't be so concerned about what other people are thinking.
Yeah, a lot of times that's what sets us back, right? It's that judgment that we're looking for, that approval, if you will, right? And you know what? Because there's so much junk now that when we see something authentic, boom, that catches our eye
Right.
compared to all this precise, listen, it doesn't matter what car you drive or how much you paid for it. What's the goal? To get from point A to get to point B.
That's right.
That's it. Will you be judged if you go in a crappy car? Yeah.
Mhm.
Will you be judged if you go in a super fine car? Yes. But does it matter? The judgment, will it matter on your last day?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah, who cares what kind of car you drove when you were, vibrant and running around? What matters is on your last day, who's there with you.
That's right.
That's that to me. And you're right. Just throw it up. And then you can explain yourself out of it. Hey, look, I was starting. I didn't know. You just talked about Fiverr and how you thought somebody, first one that gets it does it. And guess what? They did a crappy job, but it got up.
Right.
It got up. And that is the key to everything in life. You can't win a race without starting.
That's right. That first step.
That is the first step.
Without
The first
a doubt.
jump, right? So when we think about everything you've done in your business, you were in a business for 20 years, if I recall, right?
That's correct.
And then you decided, I'm going to start this other business.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get the idea for the other business? And then I'm going to put you on the hot seat. Did you start or did you procrastinate?
Okay. The idea really came roughly about 2 years ago.
Mm.
I was at a mastermind and my business was going very well. It was going the best that it ever had been before.
Nice.
And I recall the person at the mastermind saying, Jonathan, are you happy? And I said, no.
Mm.
He said, are you fulfilled? I said, no.
Mm.
So we went through the remainder of that mastermind, of that convention. And all at one time, it's almost like the heavens opened up and it's like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. So I looked at it. I'm like, what are my credentials? What do I have to really go into doing this?
Mm.
Well, at that point, 7 years prior, I had become certified as a life coach. I had been in business, let's say 2 years ago. So at that point, 18 years.
Mm.
I have a family with 6 or 7 kids. So
wait a minute, you said 6 or 7? How is that? Where's the 6 or where's the 7th? You should
good
know how many.
question.
I'm just
I
kidding
should
you.
know. Okay, I have 6 kids total,
Mm.
and we are currently working on the adoption of my oldest daughter's best friend. So
Wow. Okay.
I
That's
should just claim it
beautiful.
as 7 instead of saying 6 or 7. It's just 7.
Yeah, that is beautiful that you guys are working to help someone out. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah, she's a good kid.
You're super special just for doing that.
Well,
To
thank you.
help someone that deep in and to take a commitment, because that you had to start the process for that
Right.
too, right?
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Everything starts again, no matter if we're talking business or taking medicine, everything starts.
Mm.
But so I went from there and I really juggled the idea. I wouldn't say I was procrastinating by any means.
Right.
However, it was just really looking at how to do it. And I had some people at my house one Sunday after church, and we were doing the Toastmasters. It's 365 questions. I don't recall what they call it specifically. It's 365 questions. You answer one per day, yada, yada, yada. Well, I was actually behind, which was like the first time that I had gotten behind on it. One of the other people that was at my house, she lived behind on it. I mean, she would hit, she would record like one every 10 days or so and just catch up. The other guy that was there hadn't even started. I said, how about we just sit around my kitchen table and we all get caught up? So we did. For an hour and a half, we sat there and we just went through the questions. We had a blast. Yeah. And that is really where it all started from. We went from that, just really, they were at my house. We were just having fun, just getting caught up, just enjoying each other's company. And we have had a weekly call, at least one weekly call every single week since that day. And that's been 9 months ago. So nice. When it really started evolving, I didn't really procrastinate much because again, let's put up a crappy website. At least we have the website up. Let's do this. Let's do that. And everything is always constantly changing and evolving because, I live by this rule of you dance somebody else's dance until you have a dance of your own. You don't have to know exactly what to do. You just have to be willing to twist, turn, bend, and pivot to get where you need to be. And people will come along. They will. It might be real soon. It might take a while. People will come along to be there and to support you. And, you don't have to be the biggest, the best, the fastest growing, any of that type of stuff.
Right.
You just have to be true to who you are called to fill in the blank, lead, work for, whatever the case may be. Just know your lane and stay in it.
I love that. I love that. When we think about starting, right? For example, the podcast that I have, and now I have 5, and somebody's trying to talk me into a 6th or 7th. So, but it makes sense, right? And so when I think of all my podcasts, they all cover the similar topic of bringing amazing people together. So the first one, the reason it took me so many months to put it up, it's not that I didn't start. It's that I planned my start.
That's right.
So sometimes starting is just, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it on the calendar. This is what's going to, these are the steps that have to be taken for it to go into fruition, for it to start. But starting doesn't necessarily mean opening the doors today.
That's right.
It could be, it starts here, doesn't it?
And you follow through. That's the thing. You're absolutely right. We're in the process of putting together a podcast as well. Nice. We already have all the equipment. We have everything. So you might be able to look and say, well, he's procrastinating with getting it going. No, absolutely not. We are studying it out. We are getting it dialed in. And I'm not saying to perfection. I'm just saying we're getting it dialed in to where it can fit in with my schedule. Because once I'm in, I'm in. Once I'm committed, I do it. So it's not a thing of, well, I'll record 1 week and then maybe we'll see about the next week. Then I'll record the 3rd week. Then we'll see about the 4th week. No, because that's failure. I mean, unless you are just there with it, unless you are planning to record every other week, then that's a different story. But, it's all about going through with it and just not sitting back. Like you said, starting does not mean, oh, I had this idea for a podcast at 3:00 in the afternoon, and by 3:05, I'm sitting there recording the first one. That's great. Okay, cool. Good for you. It might take months, could even take years. That doesn't mean that you're not started. It's just like a music artist that is an overnight success. I mean, it makes us all sick. They've done absolutely nothing, and here they are, the superstar of their music genre. It's sickening. How do they have that immediate success? Well, they've been working on it for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's not immediate success. You don't know what goes into the behind the scenes until you're the one behind the scenes doing it. Then you have a much, your RAS, your reticular activating system, it's just much larger. You see a whole lot more.
Oh yeah.
But it's just about starting.
Yeah. So, and like I said before, so usually when we have an idea, that's where it hits our brain. And it could have been somebody else might have said something.
Mhm.
Somebody else might have done something and you observed it and you go, wow, I can do something with that. And that right there, that's the start, right? And then, one of the things that I constantly do is I write things down, right? So I'm constantly writing, 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 writing. And so journaling is a big part of everything. So a lot of times, if I have an idea, I do put it on paper. Reason being is because I probably get thousands of ideas a day.
Right.
And then if I go 3 weeks from now and go, what was I thinking? Oh, I forgot. But if I write it down, then I can go, okay, that was the start. Now let me go deeper into it. Let me explore more. Let me figure this out. Does it make some things a lot of people do start and they never move forward. So maybe they put up a website and they never go to 2.0 crappy, right?
Right.
And then maybe 2.3 crappy, 2.4 crappy, and then eventually get to 3.0. 3.0, they've truly articulated what the words have to say on that website. And now they're diving deep. And sometimes we start by ourselves, but we have to incorporate other intelligent human beings to come and assist us, to help us, to guide us. And then we got 3.0.
That's right.
Look, if we were all iPhone, what iPhone are we up to now? 14?
I'm not sure.
We're up to 14, right? I think I'm waiting for the 30th, I think, for my next one upgrade. I'm just kidding. But here's the thing. It keeps getting better and better and better. Can you imagine if Steve Jobs said, I got this great idea, but I'm not going to put it out there?
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything. It's just going to be a thought. Yeah. And
We'd
here's the
all
thing.
have bricks still. We'll all have these big bricks.
Right. You never know if your stupid idea is going to be the one that revolutionizes the world. You never know if your stupid idea is going to change so much about so many people's lives. I mean, think back to something like a backpack blower. Who's going to build a device that blows air? But if they hadn't have done it and nobody else did it, we'd have a hard time when it's fall time and all the leaves are falling everywhere. Yeah. What I'm saying is, and I use the term intentionally to say your stupid idea, because so oftentimes when we have these ideas, it's like, that does not make sense. There's no logic behind that. Why would I even think something so stupid? Go through with it. Because what is stupid now is not really stupid. It's a great idea. Give yourself more credit than downplaying your thoughts, your ideas. Believe in what is inside of your brain. Yeah. Because it really does hold weight. It holds power. So believe in yourself and go with it. But here's the thing, just start.
You're reminding me of Leonardo da Vinci, who drew a helicopter way before a helicopter was ever invented. He drew it. So yes, his helicopter version probably wouldn't have worked, but the idea was there. So when you have an idea, I think the best thing that we can do is talk about it, share it with our family, maybe our only close-knit people who we know they're not going to steal the idea, right? And run with it because maybe your idea is incredible. I don't like necessarily calling it a stupid idea, because if you do that, then it may limit you to actually putting it out. So I like to think of every idea as a brilliant idea until it doesn't work.
That's it. And just to clarify what I was saying when I was using the term stupid idea, I'm not saying that it's a stupid idea. Right. Yeah, it's brilliant. It just doesn't make logical sense sometimes right now, i.e., Leonardo doing the drawing of the helicopter. It didn't make sense. So absolutely. Just go through with it.
Yeah. When we think about business overall, starting is great, but planning is everything. And we talked about that, right? Even when I talked about my podcast,
Right.
my idea to start the podcast started in March 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do my first episode until December 22nd, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Reason it took so long is because the idea, the concept was there, but it changed because because of COVID. With my martial arts black belts, I said to them, hey, on Saturdays, because I already had an inkling that something had to change, and I was already going to start putting a lot of my content on the net. So I was going to start teaching classes over the internet. So I started looking to Zoom back in December before that March date came.
Mm-hmm.
And I just started because I wanted to start doing it. In the past, I used to do videos, and I had clients in all over the world. I had clients in Italy and Singapore. I had clients everywhere because they wanted my content. So I would send them a video, they would watch it, and then they would practice it, and then they would send me a video of them doing it. So it was like, oh my gosh, that takes forever if you think about it. And then, we could have done Skype. I did a few Skype trainings that way. And then I went to Zoom, and then I said, why don't we, because now we're closed because of the pandemic. And we were closed on, I think, March 16th, and March 18th, all my classes started already on live because I already had done all the work, all the legwork. So what wound up happening is I said to my clients, we're told to close on a Monday. And I said, I send them all emails, text messages. And I said, hey guys, we're all closed. Every business has to close in New York. So what I want you to do is chill out, get your computer ready. This is what you do. And on Wednesday, we start classes. I had 7 classes, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And then I said on Saturday, for my black belts, why don't we do coffee with Sifu? That's what they call me, right? Sifu means teacher in Chinese. And I said, once we do that, and you don't have to be in uniform, and we're just going to have a conversation, and we'll talk about different things. You guys ask me different questions, all these different things. And then that evening, I said, hey, for the parents of all the kids and every member, why don't we have an adult session and we do a cocktail party? They're like, what? A cocktail party? Yeah, let's do it. So we all got together. So I was doing all these different things. And then talking to my black belts, I said, hey, all the different topics that we're talking about, do you think other people would like to hear this? And they say, absolutely. I can't wait for next week and I'm like, huh. So I was going to start a martial arts podcast. And then I realized that when I was in high school, I used to coach gymnastics at a different high school. I was on the gymnastics team, but I used to go to a different high school and teach gymnastics on the weekends. And then I used to go in 0 period to my high school and teach kids who didn't know how to swim, to do the elementary backstroke. So I'm like, wait a minute. I've coached in different modalities. I know so many different coaches. I've trained with UFC coaches. I've trained some UFC fighters. Why don't I talk to coaches? And that's when Coaching Call was born. And I said, okay, now I have to build that awareness. So that's where the wheels started rolling. And so before my first show went live, I already had recorded 20.
Wow.
So it wasn't like that was my real first day. My real first day was that I recorded the first one. But the start is the plan, so that there is some success. And if you go back and probably listen to my first episode, I probably stunk as an interviewer, right? I probably was terrible. I'm not tooting my horn and saying I'm great, but I'm a little bit better.
Right.
Just a little bit.
I give yourself credit. You're more than a little bit. You're fantastic at what you do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
One thing that I really enjoyed doing is going back to that website that I was talking about. I took screenshots of that entire site and I have it saved so that I can look back at it periodically and think, this is where we came from. This is where we're at. To me,
Nice.
that's motivation.
Hmm.
It's motivation because you're going to. I don't care if you do wait until you put out the perfect product. In your opinion, it's still going to change, which means it wasn't perfect to begin with.
Yeah. So we have the
Everything grows
screen.
and evolves.
We have it running across the bottom. It's thoughtprovokingchange.com. That's the website you're talking about, right?
Correct.
But
Correct.
it
It
doesn't
has been
look that
updated.
it doesn't look like that from day one, right? You've made some iterations on it, right?
Yes, that has definitely changed a lot since day one. Right.
Right. And I'm
Right.
sure a year from now it's going to look a little different.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, one of the things, and I like I like learning. Actually, I have to rephrase that. I love learning.
Me too.
Love it. There's such a passion for me that I had someone do my websites for my martial arts school and my other businesses. And then I said, wait a minute, I have to wait for them to make the changes that they should make. I have to ask them, and then I have to wait. Then I have to ask them, then I have to wait. And they didn't do it right. They didn't do it. So I said, no, I need to learn how.
Right.
So I had a client who, if you think of Mark Zuckerberg, who created Facebook, and it was all based on coding, I had a client who was like that. And I said, wait a minute, I need to work with this person. So I said, hey, why don't we start doing something together? And he said, cool. And I said, before we start working together, I'm going to go and take some courses on coding. What coding should I learn? He goes, learn this, learn that, learn this. I said, good, I'm going. So I said, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. And we started coding every night. And sometimes it'd be 3-4 hours a night. And then we created a company, and we started doing websites for people. And the websites for people that we did, my God, if it was just me, they would have been okay. But his genius was beyond. I mean, we had interactive websites and this and that, and CRMs, and people could go in the background. They didn't have to wait for us to change anything. They can go in there and change it. It was incredible.
Mhm.
And this is before all these other platforms started coming out where they create templates. So we never created a template. Everything was original. And so being that I taught myself how to do all these things, it was that start, that
Right.
initial desire to make something better than what I already had. I was paying for. And now I had people paying me for that service.
Right.
You know, it's pretty incredible when we can take the knowledge that we're willing to take and advance ourselves, advance our learning.
Mhm.
And even now, we're creating something that's going to be revolutionary, because he and I are working on this concept, but we brought another team member, and we're doing the wireframe. We're taking for coaches. You know, coaches, you have Kajabi, you have all these different platforms where you go teach, and you put your material in it, and people go and buy your products. And then you
Mhm.
have to have Calendly, you have to have this thing, you have to have that, you have to do video editing. We're putting everything in one hub.
Nice.
So right now we're up to the part where if you put up your video for your website, you put in the raw, and you can go in there with a couple of buttons, you can edit your own videos.
Mhm.
And it's like, wow, nobody's doing that. So we're doing things that are going to be beyond. But we had to start. And it
Right.
was me, it was my idea. And with me, it's always like, there's something out there.
Mhm.
There's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. Man, I have to go to all these different platforms. Can't I just have one?
Right.
Right. So that's the start of creating something. And you're right. You always have to start.
Mhm.
Right.
You have to start, and like we talked about earlier, don't be so concerned about what other people are thinking,
Hmm.
because they may not be your ideal avatar. They might not be who you are soliciting to, so it really doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's one other thing is I mentioned earlier, a lot of times the question in somebody's mind is, what if I fail? What if it doesn't go right? If you were to reframe that, and this actually worked wonders for me, my head, my business, everything. Everything changed when I reframed what could go wrong. Just simply look at what could go right. Just focus on what could go right. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. So you focus on what could go right, you're going to make it right. There were a lot in the business that I've owned for 20 years. There were several times in the past, 5 or 6 years that I took on stuff that logically I could not handle. I couldn't finance it. I didn't have the workload, the staff, all that. I took it on and I looked at what could go right. And guess what? It did. It's not saying there weren't challenges, because there were challenges along the way. But challenges is what sets you apart in your greatness. Challenges are not a negative thing. They are a positive thing, because that every challenge you take and you beat, and for everybody watching this, every challenge that you have come against in your life, you've won. Every one of them.
Yeah.
So it's just keep going and keep knowing that it will work out.
Jonathan, I got to tell you, if everything was easy, life would be boring. Life
Sure
would be totally boring. Talking about starting and doing different things, I am having this event in New York called Heroes Rising Apex. And we talked earlier, and I know that you're going to be a speaker there, and we're excited. But let me share this video that I put together for everybody to be excited as well. Let's take a look.
Let's see it.
Heroes Rising Apex is the highly anticipated business event of the year. This gathering of industry leaders, entrepreneurs, authors, and visionaries promises to be a game-changing experience that will inspire, educate, and provide networking opportunities. Get ready to immerse yourself in a world of innovation, strategy, and collaboration as we embark on an unforgettable journey of learning, growth, and success. Join us in New York on July 14th through the 16th. Go to heroesrisingapex.com for tickets.
That's exciting.
What do you think?
That's exciting. It's exciting. I look forward to seeing you there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're going to have to hug it out.
Sounds good.
So even to put that video together, had to start with a thought, a process, because even the first words, they had to start somewhere. The thought of, what words do I put together? What's the first image that people are going to see? What's the music, the sound, everything had to start, right? We have to start to understand that it's okay to fail, but it's okay, or it's even better when we learn from that failure.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a very simple and beat to death term, but there's no such thing as failure if you learn from it. And it's true. It really is, because everybody that has achieved anything in life has failed. You look at somebody that you consider to be super successful and look at them. They're standing on a mountaintop. They are just so above the crowd. Great. We're standing on a mountaintop. However, what you may not realize is that mountaintop is a mountaintop of our failures that we refuse to live beneath and we refuse to let bury us. That mountaintop that we're standing on is the failures, and we stepped on top of them to elevate ourselves and learn and grow and keep going.
Yeah. But that mountaintop, you couldn't get to the top without taking that first step from the bottom.
That's right. That's right. You had to start. That's right. Absolutely.
You even had to get to the mountain first, because unless you're living at the bottom of the mountain.
That's right.
You may have to have gotten in your car, your camel, your horse, wherever. You still had to get to it. And then you had to to be successful, and one of the things that this is why I love coaches so much, to be successful with better results, talk to someone who's done it.
That's right.
Talk to someone who knows the trail. And that's what a coach is. That's what a real good coach is. They're going to tell you, they're not going to take the steps for you, because then that's a bad coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? I'm going to hire a coach and I'm going to get piggyback on his back and then just have him carry me around.
Right.
That's not going to do anything for me. It's only going to make him stronger, right? He's going to show me. He's going to say, hey, don't step over there. There's a snake over here. Watch that. That's poison oak. And, it's going to rain at this time. This is how you set your tent. This is, make sure that the water's going this way, not that way. That's what a coach does, right?
That's right.
So that's why I love coaching so much. And I believe everyone needs a coach.
Without a doubt. Doesn't matter how good you are. Michael Jordan, best basketball player, and this isn't a debate, best basketball player ever. He had a coach.
Oh, yeah.
Tiger Woods has a coach. The best football players, everybody has a coach. It's like when you win the Super Bowl, the coach gets talked about. The coach gets praised, and they should. They're the ones that led the team. The team could not have done it without that coach, and the coach couldn't have done it without a team. It is all about teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm with you. Everybody needs a coach. Everybody needs a mentor to mirror match. Find that person who has what you want and do the same or similar results to get this, or do the same or similar things to get very matching results. But you got to know what to do instead of making it up on your own.
And if you think about even a football team, a basketball team, a soccer team, a hockey team, they don't just have one coach.
Right.
So if you want to elevate, you may need more than one coach.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have.
I do too.
I have a couple of mentors. I have a couple of coaches. And guess what? Come to New York. You're going to meet other amazing coaches. You're going to get to meet Jonathan.
Woohoo! Looking forward to it.
His brain, right? You're going to pick his brain. You're going to listen to what he's got to talk to on stage, and then afterwards. And then if you are a platinum member, man, not only do you get to rub elbows, but you get to ask questions that no one else can. Why would someone want to get front row seats at any event? I'm asking you.
You're asking me. The reason to get as close as possible, although the same words are being said because it's going through a sound system. So you're hearing the same thing in the back as you are the front. The person that gets the best results are the front and center. Whenever I go to an event, that's where I want to be, is as close to the front and as close to the center as possible. You are just, that everybody behind you can see you. So it also keeps you on your game so that you're focused on what's being said. You're focused on the truth nuggets that are being laid down right in front of you, instead of getting distracted. And, how embarrassing is it to be on your phone when there's 200 people that are essentially looking at you because you're in between them and the stage?
Yeah.
So it keeps you focused a whole lot more. You're just one with the person. I am all about experiences. And, I had a conversation with somebody on Facebook probably a month and a half ago. They said that a concert ticket that they looked at was $200, $300, something like that. They said, I cannot fathom spending that much to go to a concert. They said, how much was the last concert you went to? I said, the last concert I went to was about $1,000 a ticket. And the one before that was $750 per ticket. And they said, there's absolutely no way. Why would you do that? I said, because the $1,000 per ticket, if Elton John sneezed, we would have been covered in what he sneezed. And the $750 ticket, the concert did get canceled. However, we were going to be on stage with Steven Tyler and Aerosmith. The closer that you get, the more you feel it. You're getting something different when you are down close to the front, whether it's a mastermind, whether it's a concert, a baseball game. The only place that I can think of that you actually want to sit higher is NASCAR. Other than that, everywhere else you want to be as close as possible because you get more. You want to catch the baseball at the baseball game, you don't get the tickets way up top. You get them close to the fence. And when you go to a mastermind, like when everybody goes to New York for your event, you want to be catching the baseball that's hit from the stage. You want to catch that fly ball, and you want to catch everything that's coming from the stage. The closer you are, the faster you get it, the more information you get. So get to the
you
event
also want to get the
ticket.
signatures, right? You want to get the signatures too.
Without a doubt.
Especially if you go into a game, right?
Absolutely. You just reach over and there they are. So yes, it is very important to get your platinum ticket to the event.
Yeah, without a doubt, because you're also going to get signed books from authors and all these different things. So, Jonathan, always a pleasure. I am so happy that you came on. And I know this will not be your last stint on this show. And I've already invited you to come on my Heroes Rising. We're going to do a special event, everybody, May 12th, with a bunch of speakers. It's not going to be live like this. It's going to be a ticketed only event. So you can get your tickets for free. But we're going to put that up soon. I'm going to let you know probably in a week or two. And it'll be May 12th. And we're going to give out tickets to a certain amount of people. Probably only 250 people can come free. After that, it's going to cost. So be the first. Be there. Jonathan, start.
Just start. Yes.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, my friend. Have an amazing and exceptional day.
You as well. Be blessed. Happy Good Friday.
Happy Good Friday.